we are here and doing a thing. There's so many people in here. Like this is a first for us. It's been a while since we had a bunch of people. Well, hi, all you BC Wrestle Pod nerds out there. And for those of you that tuned into the other review this morning, this is the second time you are seeing me and Minnie. But we got some new faces joining us this evening. And welcome to the 6th episode of the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast, our somewhat monthly podcast where we just come up with a topic and we spend however much time on the topic talking about it and just be wrestling nerds outside of reviews, which is fantastic.
But do you know why, Mikey? Do you know why we do this?
Why do we do it?
Because we wanted to.
Oh God, I can't remember the SmackDown stuff over. It's about to be chaotic. This is what happens when
the keys upon the table.
Yes.
Because we wanted to.
Oh my gosh. But I am one of your hosts, Mikey, and joining me this evening is a whole eclectic crew. We have many of the WWE review squad in the house. Hello, sir. Again.
I was here earlier, but now I'm back because I wanted to. Without that damn lucha dork.
Listen, it's getting real behind the scenes, which we'll share once we get more information. But then also joining us is the lovable pair that is Adolfo and Alice from the AEW, review show, which honestly is like one of the funnest shows, the newer ones that we're doing. It's crazy out here.
I gotta say, I'm feeling very, very happy that our HR crew is here, that they're on the stream tonight. Make sure everything's on the level. Ooh.
We have an HR?
Watch the AEW stream, you'll understand that joke. Anyway,
I'm fucked.
we got
all right, that took a total of 37 seconds.
Oh my goodness. And of course, last but certainly not least, we have 2/3 of the 3/4 actually, but we have the ROH boys in the house as well. JVL and Jesse, thank you for being here tonight. So this is gonna be a fun one for sure. So now that we've gotten introductions out of the way, let us begin. All right.
Whoa.
Yeah, sure. Whoa.
That was
okay.
a quick jump.
I mean, technically it was. But before we start, shout out to Will, who is watching us in the audience. So hello, sir. Thank you for stopping by. And be on the lookout because Will's probably going to try to break the fourth wall and break us into laughter like he did last time he was in here.
We'll just force me to watch TNA and CMLL because he won't watch anything else. So
it's going to be fantastic. But welcome to another episode of the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast. This month's episode is called Missed Opportunities, Wrestling Feuds That Could Have Been. So to give you a brief synopsis before we get started is honestly the inception of this whole entire topic, came about when I was scrolling on the TikToks and I saw a particular video from a wrestler in one of these companies that we review. And I thought to myself, and it was an unused promo that they never got to use during a certain feud of theirs. And I thought to myself, hey, this promo is pretty good. And then I was filled with absolute rage because then I said to myself, why did we not get this feud? Or why did we not get even more of this? So that is where this topic comes into play, where each of us have been given the homework assignment. Well, at least 5 out of 6 of us did the homework assignment. One of us is going to try to cheat to get other people to fill in the homework assignment for us. Alex, looking at you, Adolfo.
Hi.
I love Adolfo, but he's that one kid in school where, he's smart, but he's going to let everybody else do the work for him.
Which makes him smarter.
Yeah.
For my underlying reason is chaos.
That is very, very fair. So,
or as we pronounce it on the East Coast, chouse.
Chouse. So tonight is going to be fun because each of us is going to talk about a feud that was a missed opportunity to either perpetuate it further or just complete miss and they didn't utilize the talents correctly or whatnot. So I am going to do this because there are a total of 6 of us, and normally I just pick at random for everyone, to pick, but I have decided to do something very, very fun for this one. So let me get this up here real quick.
Who donated the most to our favorite charity? Oh,
Oh, what the hell?
Ralph go
So-
first, and he has to think of
Why
something.
is
So
Mike
here's
doing
how
this?
this. So this is how this is going to work. I'm going to spin this wheel, and whoever it lands on is going to go first with their little presentation to the audience and to the class, so to speak. So
I did not
Wrestling
know we had
gods?
a special effects department.
what we do now. So let's spin.
Mike still hasn't gone back to school. He has time to build this stuff.
Honestly, for reals.
Fitting
look
that
at that.
that's what
Oh yeah, like that wasn't real.
Damn. All right. Well, I guess I get to go first. So talk amongst yourselves while I get everything together
This is
real quick.
rigged.
So this
Make
is
sure you
real
hit
fun.
hide choice so you don't get picked again.
I
Oh
know.
my
no.
God.
You just hit another one.
Oh
All
my
right. Talk
God.
amongst yourselves while I get this prepared.
Or anyone else notice how the spin was weighted?
Right? Did we get like the people to come and balance that? Make sure it was no on the side there.
There's also a delay. It's West Coast versus East Coast, so obviously it's just still spinning and we can't see it, so it's lag.
Right,
I guess.
right.
All right. Yeah. It really landed on Evan.
Oh my gosh. All righty. So
All right, here we go.
now that I have my notes up, well, I'm kind of glad that I get to go first because then I can judge everybody else afterwards.
As if
But-
you weren't gonna do that
Like you
anyways.
don't judge the entire time.
Which is, that's fair.
I always judge. I'm slightly judging everybody at all times.
Slightly.
Alrighty.
Except
So
for
here
one-
we go. So since I'm going first and giving the preface, I already stated that scrolling on TikTok is what had me get this episode together. And I'm going to start out before I get into the details as to why this was a missed opportunity and, what we could have gotten. And I'm going to give how I would book the feud for a little bit. We're going to watch the video that kind of...
Oh, he's got videos and projections. I just have names.
Wow.
Listen,
Yeah,
Andrew,
I'm just gonna say shit.
Yeah.
Andrew is not here, so somebody has to do it.
You didn't tell us we needed to.
I didn't. It's just a video to give you who I'm going to be talking about, and also the video that was the catalyst for all this. So let's watch this real quick, and then
No wonder
I'll
you
get
wanted to
into
go
it a little
first.
bit more. So here we go.
In this world, some people are simply better than others. No one wants to admit that, but it's true. So they grip their consolation prizes and bark at your success. And no one is higher than the queen. I have it all. Money, power, respect. But what I don't have is the raw women's championship. Bianca, we all know that you were blessed with brawn, but I am blessed with beauty and the brains to outsmart everything you do. I've been gone for a while. I had to get back down to my roots, dig real deep. And what I've noticed about myself is that I'm petty, evil, and vindictive. But most of all, I'm determined. So Bianca, when I decide to come for you, and you better believe I will, I'll wear high heels so you can hear my footsteps on the concrete and have time to repent. Listen for my footsteps.
So yeah, so that's the video.
TikTok at the end just takes away from all that gravitas, though. I'm sorry. Just like brunk.
Hey, I
Yeah,
did my best. Okay,
Jesus will. Sorry, I was read the comments.
it's fine. But when I saw that video of the Queen Zelina, that's what transpired and was the catalyst of this whole entire thing. Because one, I totally forgot until I started doing the research that Zelina and Bianca did have a feud at one point. And to kind of give a time frame as to when this was probably about a month or so after Zelina won the original, like the 2023 Queen of the Ring, they had brought it back. They had King and Queen. Xavier Woods and Zelina Vega won those tournaments, though there were no stakes involved like this past year's one where there were championship matches in stake. And so when Zelina won, she got into this Queen Zelina character in which she was just being, Queen Zelina. She was subjugating people, talking down to people like most people do. And I remember as I was doing my research that I really enjoyed this. And then we kind of just had a one and done match, and then that was it, and everybody went their separate ways. So I was kind of upset about this because this feud that we got between Raw Women's Champion at the time, Bianca Belair, and Zelina Vega was not necessarily a feud with any depth or narrative development. It was just built around quick matches, and then everyone moved on to do their thing. So to me, this was a feud that could have had the potential to be great had it been given the time to develop. So here's a couple of reasons why I picked this feud as a missed opportunity. Because number one, it would have been a really cool way to show the contrasting backgrounds of Bianca and Zelina. Bianca, as we know, is the powerhouse athlete that she is, and during this time was just clearing the women's division left and right. On the other hand, you had Zelina, who in this particular heel incarnation of her was very cunning, very cerebral, and liked to use her wit to kind of figure out how to cheat her opponents out of wins. So I thought there could have been a contrast right there because of how they operate as face and heel, that it was a missed opportunity. But the two biggest issues that I have with this, of why this was a missed opportunity, is because there was a lack of character development for both Bianca and Zelina, and that there was a missed story arc potential that could have had a longer story arc leading into a pay-per-view match, if you will. And then I think the biggest egregious problem that I had with this is that it did nothing for Zelina or for Bianca in the long run. Granted, Bianca was already on that trajectory, but squashing Zelina didn't necessarily add to a legacy of Bianca. Be like, she's beaten some tough opponents because Zelina was built to be this. They had a match. Bianca squashed her, essentially. And then that was it. And then, as we could see, Zelina is still not being used to her highest potential. So that's why I think this was a missed opportunity. And to kind of close out my little segment, this is how I would have booked this feud without going into too much detail. I do have my notes. I do think that we still start the same way that we did with Queen Zelina interrupting Bianca during a promo. That Zelina is the true ruler of the women's division. And even though Bianca is very athletic, we start to see over the next couple weeks, Zelina start playing what her strength is. She's not as physical as Bianca, but she can start playing mind games with Bianca and kind of chipping away at Bianca's confidence by either having other wrestlers, come up against Bianca that kind of takes her down in her confidence. And then Bianca starts doubting herself, which ultimately leads to Zelina thinking that she has Bianca at the lowest of her confidence, challenge her to a match, and that in order to test Bianca, have what I have dubbed the Royal Decree matches, where Zelina will add these stipulations, be like, no DQ, 2 out of 3 falls, and just find ways for other wrestlers or for herself to kind of continue to chip away at Bianca's confidence. We're leading into the pay-per-view match. Bianca's not sure if she's going to be able to beat Zelina, which then at the pay-per-view match, whether it's a regular straight singles match or another Royal Decree match, Bianca in the match slowly gets her confidence back, because then she has to play Zelina's game and find cunning ways to outsmart Zelina in order to retain her championship. So ultimately, Bianca does leave this feud as the ultimate winner. But I think that, and I still believe this in Bianca's character, because she is a physical powerhouse, but we haven't really seen her struggle or to doubt herself as a babyface, which is a really fun trope if used properly, that you can have people support Bianca even more by giving and presenting her as an underdog in some capacity. The original feud that we got did not do that. It was just Bianca just destroying the women's division on her Super Cena era and like leaving decimation in the wake before inevitably Bianca would end up losing that title later down the line. And Zelina was nowhere to be seen until, she became a face. We had her out in Puerto Rico like 2 years ago, and now she's with LWO doing their thing, and she's still not being used properly. So that is why I believe that Queen Zelina versus Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair was a missed opportunity, and that is my TED Talk. So thank you for letting me speak. So now I will take questions, comments, concerns, critiques, anything like that.
So I have a question, and everyone can chime in on this.
No, you can't.
Yes.
Okay, pass.
You can't say you skipped because Mikey took your answer either.
Oh my gosh.
No, nothing like that. So this was still done during the McMahon regime, yes?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So my question is, had this situation come up in the current regime, do we think that the current regime would have handled this feud better and let it grow, or do we think it would have gone the wayside the way it did? I'm genuinely asking because I don't watch WWE. I watch almost everything else. All the WWE that I take notice of is all tangential, from through social media and all that. So I generally would like to know if people think that the new regime, if the new regime would handle something like this better than the old regime.
I mean, I think it would be a definite improvement. And again, this is just an opinion. I have nothing to back up fact-based, but in my personal opinion, I think this newer regime would have done a better job at elevating this feud. However, I cannot say that with 100% confidence given in WWE, and Minnie can attest to this because we talked about it this morning. And this is a completely different division, but the women's tag team division is struggling right now. You have women's tag champs, but we just had like the third DQ in the span of 2 weeks for these titles. And now we're having a triple threat next week because we don't know what to do with the tag teams. Now, as far as singles championships goes, I do think the Rhea Liv storyline is pretty fun. And then, now it's Nia and whoever's going to be her next opponent, because she took that title off of Bayley at SummerSlam. I think there's potential there. And also with Tiffany Stratton running around with that Money in the Bank briefcase and starting to plant the seeds for that, those championships are doing well. Now, if we were to talk about the era in which this feud actually happened in, main roster is absolutely not. Because main roster, we knew who was in charge, and this would not have been handled properly. I mean, we saw how it turned out, actually, and it didn't elevate Bianca or Zelina. The only way I think this could have actually worked is if we did the same story, but at that time, prior to, Papa H coming up and being, with Vincent Kennedy McMahon on main roster, I actually believe Black and Gold era or Shawn Michaels and Triple H during the NXT days when they were together down there, I think would have done a better job at handling the story, especially during Black and Gold era. Because if we look at Black and Gold era women's division, like those feuds and those stories were baller. Of course, we had the 4 horsewomen, which is Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and Bayley. But then the women to come after that, like Asuka, Io, Raquel, Ember Moon, they are those feuds in that division for the women were amazing. And they handled it with care, and all the women got time to shine. And even towards the later half, before we got to the 2.0 rebrand, relaunch, we had, Mia Yim like actually fighting it out. Bianca Belair didn't win a championship down there, which was kind of surprising in her whole tenure of NXT. But I think that Black and Gold era, Shawn Michaels and Triple H would have handled it better. So I think that if it would work now on main roster, but I think it would have worked best underneath different hands in the third brand of WWE and NXT. That's just me. And those two boys cared about the women's division during Black and Gold era, in which the main roster did not.
Okay.
Yep. Cool. Any other questions?
I'm just confused because Zelina was a Black and Gold like standard, but she was as the valet for El Idolo, and the problem is that I don't think Trips ever saw her as more than that to begin with. So even now, there wasn't a place for her to do that. She's proved herself in a lot of different ways, but she, while given certain pieces, it seems like now they just trot her out for certain areas to be able to get a pop. They really don't believe in her anyway. So to put her up against Bianca at any point was going to be a filler feud for a Raw or a SmackDown. It wasn't going to be for a pay-per-view or for a title. And I don't think they would have ever thought of her that way. Which is sad. It's extremely sad.
Which is very fair. And honestly, if we were going to try to put this feud into the context of where WWE is right now, I still think it would be working out by putting this feud, even though she's on main roster. Underneath Shawn Michaels NXT, I still would watch it too, because that women's division in NXT is actually pretty solid. But again, we're playing a game of what if, and so for me, I just want Zelina to do more than what she's currently being allowed to do, which is sad. And I really think that this would have been really fun to watch Bianca add a dimension to her character, because we know Bianca is a powerhouse, but we really haven't seen her struggle too much in the multiple championship reigns that she's had on main roster. Now, she got embarrassed when she lost to Becky in 10 seconds, but that was about it.
It's just a tough place to be, Mike. Like, I get why this would be a feud that could have grown in certain places, but I don't think they ever had the backing for it, and it's even showing in the new regime where there was no way this was going to be built well enough to even shine with who they had on the roster at the time and who they had coming up behind them, even on NXT.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks.
So, yeah.
Sucks as they both.
I know it does, but again, in my world, this is what I would have picked, and I stick by it. So,
yeah. This is exactly what we're asking for, right?
Exactly. For reals, we're playing a game of what if, and this was mine. So, well, I'm glad I got that out of my system. So let's bring the wheel back on stage.
Wheel of morality, turn. Show us the lesson that we should learn.
So let's see who the wheel is going to pick next.
We know if it's dark green, it's both Minnie and I at the same time. So,
oh, it's me anyways.
Minnie.
You have your video ready,
so Minnie.
Absolutely not. I'm not one of those cool people.
All right, so Minnie, you are up. So you have the floor, my man. I'm very interested to see who you pick. So take it away.
So mine is a run that could have been turned into multiple feuds that could have happened within WWE. It was Sting's run in WWE.
Okay.
So if Sting never got hurt, that could have been there's two separate feuds that we could have gotten that we didn't, that I feel like would have been incredible. One, we have Sting Undertaker. Undertaker was still wrestling at this time, and he was still, halfway walking.
I was going to say if you could call it wrestling, but yes.
But something could have still happened there, and the other one would have been Sting and Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
That would have been another great feud we could have gotten during Sting's run, but instead Vince decided to say, "Now, fuck you. You're the last WCW guy. You're losing." So it was one of those things where it could have turned into something incredible if it wasn't under the McMahon regime. Because how he was with the WCW guys, it took a lot of them a lot of time before they actually started doing something within the company. And Sting was like the last major holdout that didn't do anything until 15 years after WCW, or however many years it was after WCW fell apart. So it was like, if he didn't get hurt against Seth Rollins and then left to AEW, and I feel like if he would have been treated better and actually won his Mania match against Triple H. And then from there, that could have been turned into two great missed feuds that we could have got between him and Taker, him and Bray. I feel like those two right there that could have gotten us easily 2 years. I mean, a WrestleMania and another, like probably a year worth of feud, because he still wrestled for another how many years after that, and he just retired last year.
Do you think he would have like gone through the treatments he did earlier to be able to do that too, like the stuff he did to get back in the ring with Cena after seeing how badly he had the last couple of things, or do you think it would have still stretched out as far as it did?
It depends on how they were. I think probably maybe after the Taker match, he probably got dropped on his head, but
yeah,
this Taker was like right at the end of losing everything there. My guess probably, I think they could have done the Undertaker Sting thing, and then he could have gone taken a break in between those two, and then came back and had the Thing versus Bray, which I think would have been incredible. I think actually I would have preferred seeing that one over the Taker feud at this point in the career. I think that one was like this. We got the match that we wanted. Everybody always wanted Sting Taker. We got the match. It's over with. But then they could have easily built an incredible story between Sting and Bray Wyatt, and we could have gotten, of course, that dude probably had thousands of ideas on how he wanted to handle that match. And Sting probably would have been down for majority of that because Sting's he loves the business and loves what people want to do. I'm not as quite as cool as Mikey with a video, but I was like, yeah, Sting's whole run could have been way better, and there's so many missed opportunities what they did with Sting before he went off AEW and then retired with AEW. There's so much they could have done with him. He could have had matches against almost all the top guys. Cena was still wrestling at the time. He could have had when Adam Copeland came back, he could have been wrestling Edge a little bit, even like a little bit with like the early beginnings of the Judgment Day.
Sheamus.
Even I would like to see that. That'd been fun. Sheamus. I watched him no sell a bro kick. I watched the end of I watched Sting's last match. He don't sell half that match. Over half that match was great.
I know. Yeah, that was.
But
that was really good.
Yeah, I feel like it's not just one missed opportunities or multiple missed opportunities of just Sting's last run with WWE. Sting's only run with WWE could have been way better than how it was handled. I thought it was really cool when I saw Sting come back and just come out of nowhere and start kicking everybody. I was like, oh, this is dope. We're gonna see so many cool stuff. And then Sting just disappears after he lost. I'm like, okay, that happened. Basically, that's basically like that explains Sting's run was that happened.
Was a thing.
Yep, and it could have been a lot better if it wasn't. If Triple H, if this happened. If Vince wasn't in charge back then and Triple H was, I feel like that run could have been incredible. We could have gotten everything we wanted to see.
See, and that is the question that was in my mind, much like what I asked Mikey is, if the new regime was in charge when Sting was there, would it have been handled differently?
Yes, because Triple H loves the business as a whole. I mean, he's letting his NXT guys do TNA and other events. He's going to let the old WCW guy come out and do his thing. He's not going to be petty like Vince, because he was petty as shit doing what he did all the WCW guys, and what he did with Sting, he made him look real good just to get the pop and get the money and get the draw, and then he wanted the dude to lose at Mania to be like, nah, fuck you, this is WWE. And if Triple H was involved, Triple H has a lot more respect for the industry as a whole,
right?
Instead of just his little WWE section. Not little, it's huge, but the WWE section. Yeah. That he allows everybody to kind of do their things and wrestle and do what they got to do. So I feel like if Triple H was in charge, Triple H probably would have put Sting over. He wouldn't have beaten. He wouldn't have been like, no, I don't want to lose. I don't want to, beat him. Or he wouldn't have even put himself in that match to begin with and just done the Undertaker bit or the Bray Wyatt bits just right off right.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I mean it's a testament as to how bad he was handled, because I didn't even realize Sting had a WWE run.
Yeah, he came back at Survivor Series when Dolph Ziggler decided to face everybody by himself, the new authority, and then Sting came out, hit a Scorpion Death Drop on Seth Rollins and got him the win, and then it became a feud between Sting and the authorities, mostly Triple H, Stephanie, and a little bit of Seth.
And he got his WrestleMania moment because of that, which
yeah,
great. But
got to wrestle at Mania, which she lost to Triple H, which I think that was Vince's call. I don't think that was Paul Levesque's
I don't know
call.
why you would say that with
Right,
the
right.
giant NWO old guys coming down to face the Justice Old DX guys for no reason during the match.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was just so they can get money.
Yeah.
Get the pops and the draws. And then he had a match. Then he started his feud with Seth, and then he took a bad buckle bomb, which is why Seth doesn't really do the buckle bomb much anymore. It injured Sting, and then he went on to do the recovery thing, and then he left and went to AEW, and that did his last run over there.
Yeah, after he got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
All right.
It's wild for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Minnie, though, that was great. Thank you, sir. All right, here we go, y'all.
I did my homework.
Yeah.
Versus two J's.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh.
Will's getting his wish. Will's getting his wish.
Ba-dum.
So,
Stop.
okay. I'm excited.
It's going.
Okay. My choice is what I perceive as a missed opportunity. I don't have like this deep breadth and knowledge of the wrestling world. I've sort of come into it. WrestleMania 39 was the first wrestling I'd ever watched, and I just started sort of consistently watching AEW a couple months ago. So this is all very new to me, but I think we have a missed opportunity between Athena and Hikaru Shida. And I think we should have a feud between the two of them, and it would be amazing. I love both of them. They're such good wrestlers. I know they fought earlier this year. Hikaru Shida challenged Athena for the title, and Athena retained. I guess she's just going to wear the title forever.
But our forever champion.
Yeah, forever champion. You know, and I love her, and I love that for her. But it would be so. I think it would be such a cool opportunity, right? If Hikaru took it from her, and then she's fighting for it back, and there creates this story between the two of them. The two of them are so fantastic in the ring. I really feel like that would be some compelling storytelling between the two of them.
Well, also they have such like shared opponents, like that they can dig into also, where like things are going back would be great.
Yeah, you could even like, you know, if they have shared opponents and like shared like allies too, you could do a tag team thing just to, you know, I don't know who's better and I've got the better friend, or, you know, whatever. You could just throw stuff in there, make it mixed up, make it fun. Yeah, so that's my pick.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
No notes.
Yeah, especially with Hikaru and how her character work has just been evolving and getting better and better and better.
Good, man.
Every spot she does, I'm like, yes, more, yes, good.
Well, and setting it up, especially if it's an ROH title match at that point, Hikaru is the invading person from AEW, so you can set that up too, where Athena's not a good guy, but she's the hometown hero for the promotion, where she gets to lean into that kind of heelish tendency of like, I'm better than you, I don't need this, I didn't want this for my collection. Like, it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Honestly, I would love to see Athena and Hikaru run it back and actually be given time to develop a story, because Supercard of Honor, we got that feud for what, like 3 weeks before the pay-per-view?
Not enough. Not enough.
I think, and we'll talk about this at the end, but I feel that a lot of feuds that could have been is always because they don't invest the time into it. And they overuse the people that we do see consistently on our television. So I'll be asking some questions at the end. I'll be asking 2 questions at the end, you know, in regards to what we currently watch. And that should be an interesting thing.
Quiz.
Hey, this is good practice for me because I go back in 3 days.
Wasn't on the syllabus.
Indeed.
All right, class. So Alice, thank you for sharing. So now 3 have gone. We only have 3 left. So let's see who's up next.
Ah, crap. All right, fine. I'm gonna say this. So I have one that I'm gonna talk about, and I'm gonna send Mikey a YouTube link that maybe we can showcase quickly. Like it's the video of I found the video, but I want to go into a couple of because I could not get past these honorable mentions in my head. We don't have to delve into them. I just want to put them out there. The first was for classic stuff that we could go into. Owen Hart and Steve Austin. Had he not died, and where Steve Austin was, I think if he had gotten out of that Blue Blazer gimmick, that could have been a good end to the run because Owen was getting out of the business. To have him have that last run with the guy that he broke his neck to bring him to this point would have been a hell of a thing to watch, especially as things were changing. So that's one. My modern ones I had actually, you Alice, I agreed with you. That was one of the ones that was in my head for it, but also Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm. That got cut short too quickly, and I'm hoping we can get back into that very soon because that is definitely where I want to be. But I'm going to put it in the chat here, Mikey, and this is the one I came with, and let's see if this works. If we can show. Otherwise, I'll just go into who it is. But this was a full missed opportunity by the McMahon era, and they need to run this back now before they lose out on it.
Oh, that makes me think of another one that completely fucked on that I forgot about. That reminded me of one. God damn. I'll bring it up later.
This works. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see.
It should work. So just give me a hot second.
And this one, I'll say, it has built-in history. It has an amazing kind of build, but before the two even got in the ring with each other. But the fact that they needed to be there to save this company in its hour of need, and they did, and did nothing with it when they had so much to play with, just boggles my mind. It boggles my actual mind. And these two wrestlers defined a generation for this reason. You don't have to play the whole thing.
Okay. Oh, damn. Here we go.
Don't play the whole thing because it's a long one, but yeah.
Okay. I'll play like the first. You know, let's just get into like. I'll just pick a middle section of the match.
Sounds it. So yes, what this is Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, the two leaders of Bullet Club, who after the Saudi debacle came together on this thing and then TLC to actually save the company. I think that's enough, Mikey. I know we're gonna get something for the music on that, but
yeah, also you know because we're showing a match too.
These two utterly worked so well together in a way that Nakamura and AJ didn't, and Finn and Nakamura didn't. Like they had such chemistry and could have gone so many places with the history behind them that it just boggled. Like how could you not? You had that there in two different places, and it showed that it would have been money draw, and nobody wanted to run this down. I know the two guys were game. Like I don't get it. It burns me up inside.
So, okay, so let's talk about this too, because I agree with you in the frustration bit of this. And I think the problem that also didn't help this feud, if I remember it correctly too, is again, this is during a certain era. And we didn't mention the histories where these wrestlers came from. You know, it was forbidden to mention any other companies.
Everything up to, I mean, they did the whole thing at the end. They had the OC involved. Like this was there. You could have played it subtle and still done stuff with it.
Because again, a certain person didn't think Finn Balor was that guy or AJ was that guy, and it was frustrating to watch. Because this was Finn in what I would say is his prime, so to speak, and then of course this is AJ within the first couple of years of WWE too. This would have been amazing, and we didn't get it, and it made me mad.
They're still both there.
Yes,
they have factions. They could still do this. There's nothing stopping them.
Yeah, unfortunately, AJ is out here have matches in Japan for, Noah. And then you have, Finn is the de facto new leader of the new version of the Judgment Day. So he's going to be feuding with Damian Priest for a little bit. But man, again, that era of WWE when you had all these big new people coming in from internationally, Finn, AJ, Shinsuke, like this was prime targeting. And then of course NXT would use, like Shinsuke very well and Finn very well. And then when they got to main roster, like it just.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about the Shinsuke AJ match where it ended with Shinsuke just hit him in the balls and calling it a day.
We also don't want to talk about how Charlotte, when Asuka came to main roster, Charlotte was the one to end her undefeated streak, which made me so mad.
She didn't need. Yeah, didn't need. There's. God, fuck you, Vince.
That is the best way to put it. Yes, fuck you, Vince.
that is my feud that we have it and we still have it and it's not being played around with it. It's just sad.
It really is. So JV, that's a good pick, JVO. Now
we're all mad.
Yeah, I know. Now we're mad.
And now we've got Jesse and Adolfo to follow that.
Okay, so let's do this then. So now, JVL, that was fantastic. So let's bring it. We only got 2 left, so let's see who's gonna end up going next. All right.
The wheel has spoken.
The wheel has spoken. All righty, Adolfo. It is your time to
Time
shine.
to play that PowerPoint presentation you've been building this entire time.
I don't know what you're talking about. Y'all are doing my work for me. Okay, here we go. And actually, it's kind of, this is a good follow up to JVL because reality sucks.
Oh God.
Okay,
Reality
reality.
PowerPoint presentation. Let's go.
Normal wrestling rivalry. Meathead number 1. Hey, dude, bro, you hurt my feelings, but I'm not emotionally vulnerable enough to discuss it, dude, bro. So we're going to slap some man meat, brother. Meathead 2. Bet I'm going to shove all feelings down. Just feel rage. Fight me.
This is a modern day
Right?
golden era feud.
Right?
This
Right?
is
This is every Hulk Hogan feud.
Right. If you put a Hulk Hogan in modern day wrestling.
Right. So boring. This is all boring, right? Time and time again, we get the same dumb and repetitive thing. Is this what we watch wrestling for? Twitter feuds on TV? Nay, my wrestling fans. Nay, we should not settle for such drivel. Why watch reality on TV when the supernatural, the crazy, the odd is so much more fun? So I give on to you the WWE Supernatural Universe.
Oh my God.
Hashtag spooky wrestling for life.
I love this. I love all of this.
Okay.
I'm
This
going
is
to bed.
immediately the best thing ever.
So I've done the science and it's sound.
Yeah, you
okay.
have, yeah.
You check that's my science right there. It's sound. Okay.
Yeah.
So this rivalry would revolve around the following wrestlers: Mankind,
Heard of him?
Gangrel,
Yeah, the AEW wrestler. Yep.
Goldust.
Also Dustin Reynolds.
But wait, why no Undertaker or Kane? Well, because Undertaker and Kane at this time in WWE history had their own famous rivalries going on. However, if they so wished, they could join the WWE Supernatural Universe at a later date. So, surprise match. This 3-way rivalry would start with the theft of Sacco, which is the seat of Mankind's power. Mankind would then go on a hunting spree, targeting Goldust and Gangrel, who he believes stole Sacco. Tensions would boil over in an in-ring spot where Mankind would knock Gangrel's blood chalice from his hands, and it would land on Goldust. The saga continues. Since these rivalries are supernatural and spooky in practice, the ideas to pull from as to why they would keep fighting is endless and can naturally ebb and flow and would change up the stereotypical rivalry makeup and would lay the groundwork for more spooky wrestlers to join the fun. So in all seriousness, I thought about this long and hard, and I love me spooky wrestling, right? I'm very sad that for whatever reason, certain big promotions aren't utilizing spooky wrestling, And at that time, we had these 3 wrestlers are great character wrestlers, they're and at the time they were tops of their game. Gangrel with the Brood, Goldust, and Mankind walking in and have a nice day, and this was still like when you had that like spooky air, you know, where you still had like that Undertaker, Mankind, like Papa Shango, you know, like spirit stuff going around. And I also not so much on Mankind, but Goldust and Gangrel, for as such great characters that they were, and for as good wrestlers as they were, I feel like they were underutilized, you know. And if you're not going to utilize them because they're so weird, they're so out of there, they're so whatever you want to call it, why not have them just like go after each other? You know, it just makes sense to me. And you know, it would give another angle of wrestling. You know what I mean? Where it's not just like meatheads button heads. You know, you have the fun and the spooky ooky and that one that's not just brought up at Halloween. You know, so that, you know, that's my take. That's what I got. Go ahead.
Do you know who would have made that feud? Joining that feud would have made that feud a lot better too.
Who?
The Shockmaster.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh yeah, definitely.
I have a follow-up question.
Yes, sir.
Where would the oddities fall into play here?
Ooh.
Kurgan and Golga, they're not exactly supernatural, but it's the whole ICP thing where they want it to be.
Well, but and that's the thing. Even though it's like the supernatural universe, it still folds in all of those odd characters, those weird characters, those outlying characters, that, you know, like back in the day, Vince would only bring out for like shock value. But yeah, like all those would get folded into that.
Can I?
And you could, and I mean, you could, because when Goldust came out, I remember there was like an air of supernaturalness, an air of mystery to him, and I feel like especially with that character, there could have been so much more like added on to that if they played him like a supernatural character.
The question I had for you, Adolfo, on this is that since this is running concurrently at the time, wouldn't this be competing for eyeballs with the whole Ministry of Darkness stuff and with the Brood and all that stuff in that respect? Like, Gangrel had been pushed to the side because he wasn't as great on the mic as he had been, you know, in ring sort of with everything else. So if you have this thing on one side and you've got the whole Ministry of Darkness thing going on simultaneously, does that just like dilute the waters, or would this be different enough that they could actually play around with that?
The spookiest Survivor Series of all time.
Right? I don't think that it would dilute the waters, because even at that time, that was I don't think those characters were like, I think they were at still like mid-tier as opposed to like main, because if you remember, like at that time, you know, that is when like the DX was hot. That's when you had Rock with the Nation, that was hot. You know, you had Kurt Angle, so you know, you still had the regular meatheads, as I will call them. But the spooky ooky stuff, the supernatural wrestling stuff, was still just kind of like here and there. And to be honest, it's something that could have been folded into this whole supernatural universe rivalry thing, you know, which I think would have been great.
Oh yeah, use what they've got at that point. Use everybody together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adolfo wins. He had a whole PowerPoint presentation and everything.
Called it.
Seriously. But
I didn't have a video though. I'm sorry.
I know. It's fine. Honestly, though, if Andrew were here, he would have done a PowerPoint presentation and a video, make the rest of us look bad.
Yeah.
But that only leaves one. last but certainly not least, is the Killian Danish himself, Jesse. And I'm very interested and excited to hear what Jesse's got. So, Jesse, you have the floor, my man. Take it away.
No, I'm going to cede my time back to Adolfo. His was too good.
And welcome to that was the Bi-Conics Wrestling Podcast. Everybody now.
No.
Finish your story, Jesse. Finish your story.
So, okay. I had a few that popped into mind, and it wasn't mind, and it wasn't like I did deep dives on them. It was just mine's more of, I guess you'd say, wish list stuff that should have happened but didn't for various reasons. Some being time, some being promotion changes. Like for current, I would like to see Billy Starks, Dakota Kai. I think that would be a wonderful feud to see, but it won't happen because cross promotion and all of that. The ones that stuck in my mind that I would have liked to see more was I would have liked to see Pete Ken Shamrock 97-98 with current day Malachi Black. Because that, I think, would be really interesting, especially with them in like a Lions Den match. The one big, I guess you'd say, missed connection here, which was just totally the VKM regime doing everything they could to push down WCW. We should have gotten People's Champ versus People's Champ match. We should have had DDP and The Rock in a feud. That was a big missed one for me. That pissed me off the more I think about it, too, because DDP was the People's Champ before The Rock was the People's Champ by a few months, and he was so over, so beloved, and then they absolutely ruined him when he came in, just as a big FU to WCW. And the other one, which everyone make sure you're stretching to prepare to groan because it got canceled, and I was very excited to see. I don't think the in-ring work would have been very good, but the story behind it and the vignettes and everything else, I would have liked to see if they finished and fleshed out The Undertaker versus Mordecai back in 2004.
Yeah, no, I'm not groaning. I would have loved to have seen that. Definitely.
Yeah, that was it. I don't have a video. I don't have a PowerPoint. I just had one that I thought of that was like, hey, this is what I would have liked to see. And these were the big missed ones for me.
They're hugely missed. That's sad.
For sure.
Yeah, the People's Champ versus People Champ one that would have been
incredible.
That would have been fantastic.
They were both killer on the mic.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, and there was some I was thinking of that I'm sure everyone here did. It was like, man, this would have been a great feud. And then wait, we got that, and it was terrible. Like a big one for me was Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. And
yeah.
I wanted that back in the early 2000s when Bobby first signed and Brock was at his peak. Like that would have been fantastic. And then they waited 20 years later, and it was garbage.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Didn't Bobby get hurt during that match?
No, Brock kicked him in the dick and made him win because Brock didn't want to work with Bray.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
It also goes without saying that anything that Bray would have done in this new iteration that he had.
Yeah.
Fair.
Let's think of like Brock versus Batista.
Ooh.
Yeah, they really got like a full feud back in the day for that one too. That would have been a big one.
I mean, Austin versus Goldberg.
Ooh, that one too.
That was another WWF one we didn't get.
Here's one that we got like a tasting of, but never got a full finish of. That is the slightly erotic Viking Santa Claus Bjorn Kringleson versus Axel in the Stand the Sound of Wrestling. We got like a taste. We got a taste of that one, but then they became like a tag team, and then like they broke up because he got sent off. But like that would have been an incredible feud that the Stand the Sound of Wrestling should have done. But didn't
I'm just saying, tune in December, January. We might have some follow up on said story. I'm so excited. For those of you who have been watching been watching since like the way beginning, you are very aware of these references, and it is nuts, and it's fantastic. Stay tuned for those announcements later down the line. Alrighty, folks. So, okay, we talked about feuds that could have been. So now I want to finish off this episode with a very interesting question, and we're going to turn this on its head. No spinner for this one. We're going to go around. So we talked about feuds that were missed opportunities. So now what I want you to do is I'm going to give everyone a little bit of a second to think or so. Is there a feud that is currently going on that you feel is very lackluster or needs some like a shot of adrenaline to make you care even more that's going on in any promotion right now? Okay, Alice is ready to go. This is the moment she's been waiting for.
Yeah, I got.
So you don't need to give me like all like A, B, C bullet points. Like you just express your feelings. So JPL, I'm gonna let you go first on this one. What current wrestling feud you think needs a shot of adrenaline to make you care about more right now?
The entire Undisputed Kingdom versus Kyle O'Reilly. It makes no complete sense at all. What is this?
Alice, were you about to pick that one too?
That wasn't my pick, but like, yes, that's why I hard agree with that one.
Go
yes,
off, Alice. Tell us why you agree.
Oh my God, they're so boring, and and what is Kyle O'Reilly doing? Like, give him a direction. They haven't done any character work with him. He's still kind of in between ideas of what he's gonna be. This makes no sense. They're like, come to the dark side, and he's like, I've told you no 16 times. What else do I have to say? So
my
stop it.
For Mark Briscoe and his cocaine addiction habit. Like I have to be here for him in every meeting, basically.
I am his sponsor. Okay, I need to be here. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Roddy, shut up.
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Poor Kyle O'Reilly, man. Like we're just throwing him from thing to thing with no direction, and it just makes me sad. So JBL, that's your pick. The whole entire Roddy versus the Undisputed Kingdom going on in AEW. Alice, I'm going to come to you next since you were talking. So outside of that one, is there a feud right now that you need them to inject something for you to care more about?
Yes, there is. Jack Perry, the Scapegoat versus Darby Allin. What is this? What is this? Okay, so we saw him like this week once. Oh, yay. Oh, you can wrestle for 5 seconds. Okay.
And now Taco Bell for some reason.
Right. And I don't there's been one spot, I think, where he showed up and like did a spear to Darby Allin. And like, that's legitimately the only interaction they've had. Why do I care about this? I don't care about it at all. Give it something else. Give me some stakes. There's nothing happening there for me.
Put some steak sauce on that thing.
Please.
Give me some flavor. So, Adolfo, you're next. So is there a feud in any promotion, whether we cover it or not, that you feel like, I need you to make me care more, so give me something more for this?
Yeah, I am going to choose the Euphoria, Valiente, Esfinge, Hechicero four-way mask for mask that's going on in CMLL. So to give people a little context,
strap in, kids, because this one's a doozy.
Right. So masked luchadors, their mask is them. Their personality, it's their soul, it's them. So anytime you futz with their mask, it's a big thing. And in Lucha Libre, one of the biggest matches that sometimes even transcends championship matches is a mask for a mask match or a mask for hair match. And what it is that these luchadors, they'll go in, they wrestle, the loser loses their mask or loses their hair. And from then on, they will never be able to wear the mask, or they'll never be able to wear the same hairstyle again. Right. The one that pops to my mind that lost his mask to Atlantis Junior. That lost to Atlantis Senior, like over 20 years ago, was Ultimo Guerrero. Ultimo Guerrero had a mask, lost his mask first mask against Atlantis over 20 years ago, is still wrestling, but doesn't wear his mask. So,
except in AEW.
Well, yeah, except in AEW, but that's.
We come to find out that was a last minute decision too.
Yeah. There was a whole lot of weirdness with that, but when you see him in CMLL, he never has a mask. But so in recent history, Euphoria, these four luchadors, Euphoria, Esfinge, Hechicero, which for those of you watching AEW, it is that same Hechicero, and Valiente. They have all been beefing and going after each other's masks, and now like all of them are in this big mask for mask match come September for the 91st anniversary, which is cool. And it was cool like when it started, right? And the other cool thing about it is that Valiente and Hechicero, they have like 15 years of history that's kind of leading up to this. But the problem is this: every time they get into a ring with each other, they just start going after each other's masks, and it's just boring now. You know, like, I get it. Y'all got this mask for mask match coming up. And I'm excited to see it. However, please, when you step in the ring with each other, please just stop just going for each other's match. Because literally, like, whenever, for a perfect example, whenever Euphoria and Esfinge get in the ring with each other, over half the match is them ripping each other's masks. And it's just, at this point, you know, it was exciting the first time, and the second time, and now by now it's just like, all right, can we please? And another example of this is they did this one match where Atlantis Jr. and Ultimo Guerrero were like, it was Ultimo Guerrero, Hechicero, and Euphoria versus Atlantis Jr., Esfinge, and Valiente, right? And I was excited because, this is, you know, and it's going to be a Relevo Australiano match. So this is going to be really good. I can't wait to see it. That's 2 out of 3. Yes, let's do it, right? And for the first 2 falls, it was just them ripping each other's masks apart.
It was so whack.
Yeah, and Atlantis Jr. and Ultimo Guerrero were kind of like the kids left out of the party, and they're just kind of sitting there like staring at each other and like, why are we even here? You know? So yeah, that's my pick. That give me a new reason to care. If not, yes. Thank you.
Baller. Alrighty. So thank you, Adolfo, and bringing light to CMLL because, you know, we do it. Yeah, so Will chiming in here. Yeah, it became a little redundant as it went on, as he is watching CMLL with us. It was so disappointing because wasn't it like the semi-main event too of that episode in particular, I think?
Yeah, it was. And the other thing that was frustrating about that is, like I said, like Atlantis Jr. and Ultimo Guerrero, great luchadors, but in this match were just underused, and you could tell like they were like, why are we even here? You know, at the end of the match, they just walked off, and the other 4 just kept like kicking each other in the balls and ripping each other's masks. You know, it was like, all right, we're good, guys. Let's keep it going.
All righty. Thank you, Adolfo. So I will go next. I tossed it back and forth between, you know, since I watch it, I end up watching everything. I'm like, I have a whole plethora of things to, you know, choose from. But when I really thought about it, there were 2 at the top of my mind, both from AEW, that I was just like, the way that the feuds have been handled or whatnot is like not doing it for me. I originally was going to pick, you know, since it's the most recent thing that happened as of 24 hours ago, but I hate the story that we're telling for the tag team titles in AEW with, you know, I'm still the firm believer it should have just been Acclaimed and Young Bucks running this into All In. But, you know, because FTR is the thing. And I was like, y'all boys were there last year. Let the Acclaimed have a moment. Like, anyways. And Max Caster, as annoying as his raps get, I was just like, once again, they need to air their social media promos on the actual television. But after match was done, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens calling out FTR, be like, y'all are politicking your way. You couldn't just let us have our moment. I was like, damn, that's kind of facts. But I was like, all right, at least we're getting a triple threat, so this should be fun. But then there was one other feud that is building to All In that has kind of been mishandled, and it's making me not care about it. And it's just for a whole bunch of reasons. And that is our TBS championship feud that we got going into All In between Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker. So here's the thing. We started off great. Like, I was super excited. I was like, okay, Mercedes versus Britt. Britt just coming back from, being gone because, illness and everything like that. I was super excited. And for the first 2.5 weeks that we were building this feud, I was like, this is great. But there were two big problems for me in this particular feud. Number one was the fact that Britt Baker got suspended. That's the big one that's kind of stopped a lot of this momentum. We can have a whole nother podcast episode talking about that incident alone, because there was just a lot of misinformation. It reeked of somewhat misogyny and sexism a little bit with all the information, a Britt getting suspended and not the other party getting suspended. Again, we could spend a whole episode just talking about that. But the second part that has not helped with this is, while Britt was suspended for 2 weeks at this point, every time Mercedes cuts a promo, it's the same promo that we get from her every single time. It's different words, but it means the same thing. And, I love Mercedes. I really, really do. But her promo skills are still not where I need them to be, girl. I'm just like, it's okay. If you have a couple things that you want to say throughout this heel run, I'm here for it. But you got to learn to be able to communicate it in various ways, because you're saying the same thing. And then it's not helping that now that you have Camille kind of making it a 2-on-1 situation. Honestly, Camille is probably the best thing so far in this whole feud, because I was just like, there we go. That's the Camille from NWA and MLW that I'm used to. This girl's about to kill somebody. It's going to be fantastic. But Mercedes, you are not helping this feud, because while Britt has been gone, you were the major running force with these promos and everything, and they not have been it. Now Britt is back, but this week did not help anything, because again, it's the same thing. The 2-on-1 situation, these promos are not getting. This is the second or third time that Britt has tried to hit, her finisher on Mercedes throughout this whole entire thing. I'm just like, girls, this was hot while going into it, and now we're at lukewarm temperature. We need something to kick that into adrenaline, because I think the match is going to be fun, but now you made me not care about this feud, which is sad, because right now we only have 2 women's matches going into All In, which is egregious. But, it's AEW for you. They don't want to put more than 1 women's match on, the main card. And I dare say it, and I can't believe I'm saying this, because I love Britt and Mercedes, and they wouldn't put this, but guys, I kind of want to see Willow and Ishii and Stokely and Chris on main card right now more than 0 Hour. I'm just putting it out there. We could find something else to put on 0 Hour, but I feel that storyline has better build, and that's not even for a championship. Technically, it's just because Willow and Chris hate each other. And I was like, that's all we need sometimes. But yeah, Britt and Mercedes' feud has kind of hit a wall for me, and if nothing changes this week, then I'm still excited for the match. But I was like, damn, this was a missed potential.
I am all on board for Jamie Hayter breaking it up and All In.
Yes, give me Jamie Hayter. I'm a hateration for real life.
Haterade. We're all part of the Haterade.
We're part of the Haterade.
Mini.
All right.
W.
So, I know.
I was going to say, Mikey, I totally forgot that they were feuding. That's how bad it's been. I was like, oh, yeah, that would do. Yeah.
And which sucks, because of these are the only 2 women's feuds that we have going into this pay-per-view. And while I have my issues with Tony and Mariah for a little bit, at least we reached the next chapter, because Tony took off her very depressed disguise this week, and now she's back to the timeless one. And I'm just like, progression right there. Mm-hmm. This is going to be great. We still don't know how Mina's going to play into it, because we've been teasing Mina this week about how she's caught in the middle. So it's all going to come to head at Wembley, which makes me excited. And then I look at this other feud. I was like, we could have had this potential, but now I don't care, because 1, it didn't help that Britt got suspended. But number 2, the other issue is the fact that your driving force of the other side of this feud has not been doing great, making me care about this. So that's where I stand. I still think the match is going to be fun, but the feud has been want, which makes me sad. All righty, Jesse, you are up next. Now, obviously, as our ROH person, there are many of you that we could talk about.
Are there?
What? I mean, so what is a feud that you think needs something to make you care about more, or is overstaying its welcome?
Well, we finally got the ending, the blow off of the overstayed welcome for Serpentico's mask. So, thank Christ that's gone. I hope. That being said, I think we need every feud in ROH needs an injection of adrenaline because there aren't any right now, and that's a problem. We've got feuding for ROH titles, not on ROH. Do I care about the ROH champions? No. Do I care about the TV title? No. There's no title that I care about on there, and that's a big problem. So, yes, all of the feuds. Give me one. I'm not trying to be greedy. Just give me one feud I can care about on the show.
I agree with you. I will counter it by saying at least we got the remnants of what seems to be a new feud because we're doing Athena and Abaddon, which we know
remnants. We're settling for remnants. We're setting the bar real high, aren't we?
I mean, that's fair. Again, this is the beginning stages of the feud, so I don't have faith that ROH would do anything with it, but at least it's something there. And honestly, Athena and Billy is what's carrying ROH right now.
That's the only one I can think of, but it needs to move forward a little bit quicker for me.
Yes, at least with Abaddon feuding with Athena, we've kind of put Red and Queen to the side for a little bit because even that was getting run into the ground a little bit leading into Death Before Dishonor. So, but I agree with you because outside of Athena and Billy, who doesn't even have a championship right now, we don't have any building feuds. And okay, spoiler alert, I don't know what we're going to be doing with our tag team championships, by the way, too, now that we have new champs.
God, Andrew was right.
Yeah, so Andrew's always right when it comes to tag team wrestling, and I'm mad but very happy that he's on our side when it comes to these kinds of discussions. Alrighty, that just leaves you, Minnie. Last one. Is there a feud in WWE right now you feel like needs a little bit of something to take it to the next level?
I'm gonna talk about two, and one of them I probably might get a little hate for, but I'll explain. I'm gonna go to the one that I always talk about every single time we do a SmackDown review. It's the Odyssey Jones, New Day, and the Final Testament. I'm bored as fuck of that thing, but unfortunately for me, the only way for me to even get interested in that whole feud again is for Big E to come back. So I don't think there's a whole lot they can do besides just ending it. Like even Xavier Woods' heel turn, I'll be like, I'm done with this thing.
It's been a rough road because we've been doing this feud since post WrestleMania, maybe longer than this, and it's still going nowhere.
I don't care anymore. If Big E comes back, then I would. That's the only thing I'm going to make me care about that feud.
That's fair. What's the other one?
And this is the only reason I'm saying this one is because I feel like they need to be feuding with somebody else. That is American Made and the White Six. I feel like the Whites. We got two groups that we've been wanting to get together for a while now. We wanted to see Chad Gable and the Creed brothers for a minute to come in and start destroying everybody. And their first feuds against the White Six, who is somebody we've been teasing for a while that we want to see come in and destroy everybody. So it's like, well, we would rather see them. I'd rather see the White Six feud against the Final Testament and destroy the Final Testament because they can get beat. And then have American Made come in and start just wrecking house for a while. Then have them come together at some point later on. But it's the fact that they're feuding against each other. And it's two groups that we've been wanting to see for a while. That it's like, well, unfortunately, it's going to be American Made getting beat. But we want to see this group succeed. So it's like you're killing this group that we've been wanting for a while with another group we've been also wanting for a while.
Can I interject something here that I would at least how I would book themselves out of that situation?
Do it.
And in my opinion, what they should have done, they should have had a blow-off match between Uncle Howdy and Chad Gable because this whole thing is you turned your back on your family. That's why he wanted this. That's why he's been attacking them. And then we have that, Uncle Howdy goes over clearly because we don't want to book him to lose immediately. Chad Gable realizes, he's kind of right, even though he's absolutely crazy. And then we get American Made and the Alpha Academy together in one big faction.
Ooh, that would be great.
That's one way to do it. Absolutely. And it's sad that like I want to see both these factions do really, really well. As I'm fans of all of it, but it's like they're feuding against each other, and I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
And to speak onto your idea, Jesse, too, because if American Made and Alpha Academy combining numbers, you have enough people, and you could pick and choose. Like, because in Wyatt 6, you have Uncle Howdy, you have Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Dexter Loomis, and Nikki Cross. And then you can select who you want to go up there with between Chad Cable, both Julius and Brutus Creed. Yo, Nikki versus Ivy Nile would kind of go off. I'm not going to lie, you guys. I would love to see those two collide. Ivy Nile versus Nikki Cross would be great. And then, you have a choice to either throw in Akira Tozawa and Otis and find a way to mix and match the teams a little bit.
I just think they need to be separated.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mitty.
I feel like they need to be separated and do their own things.
That's fair. Yeah, because American Made is feuding with Alpha Academy again. I was like, we just finished this. What happened?
Right. So like separate that and let them do the. Well, I mean, they're going to bring in another male superstar to probably take over for the Alpha Academy. So it's 3v3. But I feel like it was really like they're still kind of going at it, and it's like I feel like they just need to be separated and let them do their own thing, and let the Wyatt Six be the spooky, creepy, scary wrestlers we want them to be. But versus a team that we don't care about them beating, like the Final Testament.
That's very, very fair too.
Even though we do like the Authors of Pain, but
actually successful. No, I would go with if we had that big group of Alpha Academy and American Made together. Tell me that you would hate to see Ivy Nile and Maxine Dupree as a tag team go for the belts.
Yes.
How good
I thought
Ivy
we were
is
going to
and
get
how
that.
great Maxine is getting every single week.
I thought we were going to get that too, but then, as we saw this week, Ivy picked her side and she destroyed Maxine during the match.
Oh, it was so sad.
I was like, no, I liked Maxine and Ivy as a pair, but again, women's tag teams are suffering right now as we see what we're doing with these women tag team titles over on Raw. So we can't have a number one contender. So let's just throw a triple threat. So, well, this was a lot of fun, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This was great. So before we sign off, as I mentioned at the top of this show, we try to do this podcast once every month towards the middle or end. So I'm super excited because the topic that I have for September is going to be really, really fun. So the next time we have a BC WrestlePod episode, September's topic is going to be all about the worst promos ever. So we're going to talk about some of the worst promos, whether from the modern era or,
anything done by Nia Jax, that is it.
So I saw everyone just like groan, but also get excited at the same time because I can see the wheels turning in people's heads.
You're seeing things, Mikey. I don't know.
Wait, can we back up and start again? I didn't know we were live.
But that is going to be September's topic, where we're going to talk. We're each individually pick the what we feel is the worst promo, and we're going to talk about it and maybe try to get some audio versions of it because video versions might get us in trouble. But who knows? So I already have a couple in mind, so this is going to be a fun one. So until then, thank you so much for joining us for this month's BC Wrestling Podcast.
Mikey, do we have a date for that?
Yes, I do. It's a good thing that I write everything down. So
it's like he's a teacher or something.
Well, also because my OCD brain, if I don't write anything down, I'm not going to remember anything. So if you want to come back and watch us talk massive amount of, shit, so to speak, and talk about the worst promos ever, that date for that particular episode of BC WrestlePod is going to be Sunday, September. I wrote it here somewhere. Here we go. Oh, maybe I didn't. Just kidding. I don't have it in this calendar. I have it in the other one. Talk amongst yourselves while I get this up and running. Or not. It's going to be in September. So that I do know.
It's all about the bets, baby. The Mets.
Oh no.
Ew, don't talk.
Nobody was saying anything. I had to say something.
Uh,
That is fair.
They're baseball, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what are the sports that you speak of? Here we go. So the worst promos ever episodes of BC WrestlePod will be Sunday, September 22nd. So it's a couple weeks away, and that is when we're going to be back with another BC WrestlePod episode. So make sure you come back and tune in because we got some fun ones. So Sunday, September 22nd is the worst promos ever. October, we're going to get into everyone's favorite. We're going to talk about our favorite spooky wrestlers and wrestling in
I
general.
think Adolfo just did that, didn't he?
Yes, but that's the whole entire show in October. November is we're going to draft we're going to do what started off this whole thing, and we're going to create our own companies and pull wrestlers to create our roster. And then, of course, in December is the big kahuna to end 2024, the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2024, where we talk about our favorites and our worst things that happen in wrestling in 2024. That's going to be my favorite one. But that is going to be it for us here on the BC WrestlePod. We got a lot of stuff this coming week. We have the AEW review happening this Tuesday. We got ROH and TNA on Friday, CMLL on Wednesday. And stay tuned because this Saturday we have night 1 of GCW Homecoming that we're doing a watch along for. So y'all are welcome to come watch me and Andrew and whoever else wants to come watch, people in GCW kill each other.
Not me.
That ladder match is going to be fantastic. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited about that one. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, but more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you later in the week on Tuesday for AEW, but until then, sayonara, adios, and Minnie, why don't you show everyone what we do on SmackDown?
Because I wanted to.
We'll catch you later. Ta-ta for now.